All right. I think we're live. Yes, we appear to be live. Dom is taking a quick break, but you got me for right now. So welcome, Outposters, to Outpost Frequency. This is episode 17. I can't believe we've done 17 of these already. And we're having a good time. Site is doing well. Dom will be back here in a minute. We're going to talk a little bit about we'll figure it out. We have no idea what we're going to actually talk about. But what? Ooh, I'm receiving a transmission. Hold on. There he is. Tom, how are you, sir? Oh, it's kind of we're taking a recount. You are. I'm enjoying. We're in election. We're election day, hour 263. It's been. That's right. I just don't understand it. I mean, these are the best voting machines produced from Venezuela. What could have gone wrong? This doesn't make sense at all. I'm deeply disappointed. I should have known there was going to be a problem when I put my vote into the machine. It sucked it in and then went, "It's all right. It's all right." I went, "Warning. We have a red flag here." I've got the vase. I've got the rum. We'll have alcohol this time. The vase. That's what the Outposters have named this fantastic cup I have, which holds. I believe it's measured in vats. So. Something like that. Yes, you could put them in books and then redeem them for crap, like S&H green stamps. Remember that shit? And if you don't... That's right. I've been asked that. But anyway, as fun as the election is, and I just... they're telling me you have no audio, and I know why. Because when I was testing, I turned off your audio. So you have audio now because it captures everything through my headphones, and I muted that when I was doing my testing. So I apologize.
You're not saying censorship, but...
I'm not saying... YouTube knows you, man. They know you. Yeah. And they figured you out. So I apologize, everyone, for muting Dom there, but thank you for Raygun Gibbons says no audio on Dom, guys. And I bet
you guys missed 5 minutes of straight hilarious jokes.
That's I appreciate you telling me how to make $10,000 in a day. I know that's going to be a little tough to repeat, but we'll
yeah. I laughed so hard at my humor, my liver failed.
That's not why your liver failed.
That's what the nice man with the tonics tells me every time he comes over.
I can bounce a quarter off my liver. Thank you very much.
Solid as a rock.
That's
like a
right.
Chevy.
That's right. I could take bullets in that thing. Bing!
I don't know if that's healthy.
I'm still alive. I figure that's good
Look
enough.
at this. I disappeared.
Holy shit. What happened to you?
Look at I'm back.
Do you have
The
motion?
light of Dom shine upon thee.
Is your studio light a motion sensor? Is that what's going on here?
Maybe. Yeah, and the problem is it's pointing in the opposite direction. This is a shit show shamble operation we got over here.
You know what? Our lighting technicians are moths. So
Yeah. When we cue to the commercials or we start running some clips for the guests we have lined up tonight, I'll go up there and fix it.
yeah, I got bad news for you.
What?
No commercials, no guests.
But I thought Busey was going to call in tonight.
If anybody would like to call in,
Give him a phone number, I dare you.
it's it's Skype. You get to Rationalist Yoda. I'll let you figure out how to spell it. It's all one word. On Skype, you ring in. Maybe I'll put you on. But for right now,
Do it, I dare you. Enter the Thunderdome.
that's right. If you really want to. Kurt wants to know why you don't disappear forever. You've got fans.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll show up in your sewer system sometime. Wait a minute. I don't think that's flattering.
I was going to say, are you going home for Thanksgiving? Is that what I'm hearing here?
I'm going to visit my people.
That's right. So, big news of the day. Big news
It
of the
is
day.
big.
And I think it's bigger than, and a lot of people are giving credit for, though I have seen this appear on some of my more news-based sites, is the fact that Wonder Woman is going to hit theaters on December 25th. And it's going to hit HBO Max as well. Boy, I would have loved to have been on that meeting with the theater owners, you know. It's like, okay, we're going to put it out in theaters on the 25th. We'll keep our date, and we're putting it on HBO Max. And AMC's like, excuse me? Come
You know
again?
what they should have done? They should have just said, "Listen, we're committed, and we're going to put it out because we want theater support because we believe we have an Oscar winner." And they'd have been, "Oh, I want to show an Oscar winner, please. I'm all for it." And then they're like,
Special
"Nah, just fucking wait. Yeah, we're putting this on TV."
Yeah. I don't know. So there's a couple of reasons why they may do this. One, it could be a bomb. It could suck. And that's definitely a possibility. I don't think that necessarily matters with something like Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman is going to perform based on its previous movie, right?
Right.
The sequels do really well based on the previous movies. So Star Wars has been doing that since 1980, and so is it crap and they have no faith in it? I don't know. It's possible.
I think Wonder Woman will be a bigger success than what was the Marvel version, Captain Marvel.
Oh, definitely.
Wonder Woman was a really, really big hit, and there was nothing there were no shenanigans at play. So it was a legitimate crowd pleaser, and it made almost $1 billion or whatever it was. So I think Wonder Woman will probably be fine. I just think studios in particular were looking for we're not going to be putting things in theaters anymore. Probably for a while, unless they can get, I've seen studios and theater chains have now started to sign deals. I think, was it Universal or Warner Brothers that signed a deal with Regal, which is like one of the bigger theater chains in the country, and it's like, we're probably going to go back to the old days, which is of course illegal and should be overturned anyway, but whatever. Where
let me interrupt you.
Studios are going to be signing those exclusive showing deals.
I had heard, and maybe it's one of the outposters, I heard that may have either gotten overturned or gotten to the point that nobody's bothering with it anymore, that it's kind of happening.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. I don't, well, and the fact that Universal didn't they sign the deal with AMC, I believe it was?
Yes, I think they've done it with AMC and Regal. Maybe it's Regal, and then there's another one. like one of the big 5 theater chains had basically told them that's not happening. And I can't remember who it is, so I could be getting my theater chains wrong.
Yeah, me too.
But
I can't
know
remember.
There was one that said that's not happening. I know AMC did.
So if the question is, though, what Warner is doing is showing that they have, at the very least, no faith that theaters are going to come back. None,
yes,
in my opinion. So if that's the case, then, well, I mean, I'm looking at is the, if that's the case, is the age of the Blockbuster over? Because I don't know if maybe they think that they're going to put Wonder Woman on HBO Max and they're going to get a whole bunch of subscriptions, and they might. The one I read said people will get it for Wonder Woman 84, they'll get the free month, and then they'll cancel it. I'm not as... Some will do that, but I think there's going to be a lot of people who, once they get on HBO Max, are going to find this, and this, and they're going to forget to cancel it, and they'll figure, fuck, it's $8 a month, and they'll end up keeping it.
Yeah.
I know I ended up doing that with Disney Plus. I just wanted to see The Mandalorian, and then I ended up keeping... I still haven't gotten rid of it. Now we're back around to the second season. Fuck it. There's
just gonna keep it.
Yeah, I'll just keep it. There's enough on there that, it's kind of nice to just... convenient to flip it on and watch a Pixar movie or something.
I'm going to throw a third one into that. Streaming subscriptions are basically going to be like gym memberships. You're going to do it because you've made this commitment, this New Year's commitment where I
don't want to talk about my damn gym membership right now.
But people get them, and gyms make a bunch of money because you keep paying it, but you don't actually go very often. So they don't cancel it. I think streaming is mostly going to be like that. I think you're seeing that a lot right now, especially with something like Netflix, where they're not gaining new subscriptions, I don't think. I remember reading that somewhere.
They did have a lot of blowback of cancellations because of cuties. I know that much.
They did have that. But there are people like me, I still haven't got... I'm going to be getting rid of my Netflix. I'm waiting out because they have the Trailer Park Boys Christmas special, and I can't part with it yet. So after New Year's, it's going to be gone. But you have a lot of people who are just like, you know what? I'll sign up for this HBO Max to see this Wonder Woman 1984, which the title doesn't exactly flow right. 1984 is not a particularly good... 84 is not a good number to put in a title. Should have been Wonder Woman 1985 because it rolls a little bit better. But they're going to get it. I watched it.
Okay.
And it's like you start poking around. It's true. That's why it's Godzilla 1985, or at least I think it is. But they're going to be like, you poke around a little bit. You might find something on HBO, you think things you like, and then at some point, probably within a couple of weeks, you'll forget it. You'll never go back to it, but you're still paying it. You probably won't even look at your bills, get on your banking account and go like, oh, what is it exactly I'm spending, and see that HBO Max, like, you'll do this. I should get back in and watch something. They had some pretty good shows, and then never do it, but keep paying it. That's going to be... Streaming is the new gym membership.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think you're onto something there. I do watch HBO Max, or at least I get into it and I watch some various things. I've read... Yeah. I hate to admit it. Well, no, not really. I really enjoy rediscovering the old Looney Tunes shorts. That's been a joy. And there is some interesting shows just rolled over from HBO, or some HBO Max exclusives. They also have rolled over a lot of the DC Universe stuff, which I actually still have to read some of the comics here and there. But I'm probably going to get rid of DC Universe, and I think they're going to change it to much like what Marvel is, where it's just comics and that's it. But all their shows are rolled over into HBO Max, and then they've got all the, like the Batman the Animated Series and Justice League and all that. So it's HBO Max, I think, is worth it, like Disney is worth it to have, just because it's convenient to watch a lot of those old classics or a lot of things that you want to watch, or all those HBO shows, which I still haven't got a chance to watch Deadwood, and I need to. And
I'm with you. That's been on my list for a long time. I'm a big Western fan, and I still haven't.
Yeah, it's one I need to do. So there's enough on HBO Max, and there's enough on Disney Plus that I think that they grab you, they get the new ones with things like Mandalorian or Wonder Woman 84
Yeah.
or even Justice League Zack Snyder cut. And then once they got you,
The trailer.
I the black and white one. What is it with him and that fucking Hallelujah
That's
song?
all I have to say. It's all like, oh. And the slow, I don't mean to interrupt, but even the slow music over it, it's...
That fucking Hallelujah song, that is the most
You almost
dated...
want me... I'm almost tempted to watch it just because it can't be worse than that, can it?
Well, I'm watching it. I'm watching it because, I mean, like I said,
know.
if you're going
We
to
need to
schedule
do
a
a live
train
show.
wreck, I can't not look at that. You know,
I've seen some, I've seen some of the after effects of train wrecks. It's very fascinating.
it's
To see the
entertaining.
process of it.
Yeah.
4 hours over 2 days or whatever's going on. This thing's going to take longer than Gallipoli. The battle, not the movie. Just get a little history humor in there for you.
I agree. I mean, you just sit there looking at it going, I wonder how they got that body part there, but that body part is way over there. So, I'm
It's a
I'm
quarter
fascinated
mile
by it.
apart. How the hell did that happen?
So we're definitely seeing a consolidation of streaming.
Yeah.
We're definitely seeing the big studios being able to pull in what they need to. Does AT&T owns Warner, right? Time Warner.
Yeah, they own Warner, CNN, and
Oh, they're trying to get rid of CNN.
something else. They want to sell CNN.
Oh,
I don't know
nobody
why.
will buy it either. Nobody will buy that festering blister.
You think even
of a-
Ted Turner's looking at it, or Ted Turner's ghost looks at it and goes, "Nope, not going anywhere near it."
Well, they are realizing that being the Orange Man Bad Network, that if Trump loses, they're in deep shit.
And you know what? That was said after the Bush administration. Like, what is CNN going to do now? And then after the Obama administration, everybody said the same thing about Fox News. Well, now what are they going to do? This might be the time where they're actually killed off. Because they've all lost viewers. Fox News that is now...
Fox
everywhere
lost
you
viewers
look.
because
they've lost millions.
They've lost viewers because they really effed up the
Yeah.
election night.
But these
People are
big
pissed.
companies, they don't go back. I mean, look at CNN. CNN was actually, it got super famous for the first Gulf War, and it was sort of respectable. It was new. People kind of respected what was going on. People trusted it. Now you look at it. There's the same thing with Fox. Fox News was new. It was a different perspective. But you could at least, if you were middle of the road and over a little bit, you could look at it as, yeah, okay, it has an opinion. It says it does, but at the same time, it still offers that middle of the road approach to whatever it was doing. It was balanced at one point. Now it's just like, screw it, we're going for it, and you can't put the genie back in the bottle. Once you've gone down that road, that's it.
Well, it's a huge.
And once Tucker Carlson signs a mega deal with Newsmax, put a fork in it.
We'll see. He
Or Sean
claims.
Hannity.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ingram or Hannity left. Carlson, I'm not too sure about. They'll make him happy, and he's trying to expand out his tendrils through the network. But the thing is, I don't want to get too far
Give
into
the
it.
network to him.
They should. They should. He's
We
the
gotta
only
move
guy
on.
on
We gotta
there.
talk about Wonder Woman.
Well, when I bring up CNN is that it's a huge debt. I mean, AT&T is in piles of debt. Piles.
I have heard it is it's
And-
a Disney level of scary.
Yeah, both Disney and so the only thing that's keeping them alive is the streaming. So maybe this is a short term look. We got to keep our streaming subscriptions up because we can't make money anywhere else. And
Yeah.
so they drop Wonder Woman 84 with no premium on it. That's what shocked me. Because even Disney put Mulan out there, but they made you pay for it. And then they later on made it free. I think they have by now. But HBO is like saying, fuck it. And I know all the cinemas were going, excuse me?
They went, no, I don't. We're
You-
not
you put
art
it where?
houses. We have 10,000 theaters across the nation. We're not an art house. We need this.
Well, I was talking. I was
Guess what? You don't get it.
in my real job today, the one that actually makes me money because we just don't have enough here yet for me to do this full time.
I've heard rumors.
But yeah, and the guy I was talking to, he says his customer, because AMC is actually located here in Kansas City. They're headquartered here. So
We have a big theater chain here too.
do you?
We have Harkins. Harkins is based in Scottsdale.
Oh, okay. So AMC is headquartered in Kansas City, and they are furloughing people left and right, and they have lost. He says they have lost a ton of brain trust. People that really understood the technology of theaters, which you know, if you've been in a theater and you're in a rumble seat and you know the lighting and
it's a big production now.
it is huge. And then you throw in things like they're doing restaurants and all the other stuff that goes along with it. Now those people are gone. They had to, you know, all those high paid people that knew that kind of stuff, they're gone because, you know, there's nothing in the theater. No, they're Harry Potter, right? So what do, even if everything goes back to normal, which will probably take at least a year, if they open up everything right now, first of all, you got to get the productions going again. And while they do have a lot of stuff in the can, whether or not they can keep stuff coming out every weekend like they used to, that's going to be tough.
It's like you can blow your backlog load right now, and you'll probably be fine for 6 months to maybe a year. But unless you, well, here's the thing: you have to fundamentally change the way these things are made.
Yeah,
you can't spend years in development hell. You can't have meeting after meeting after meeting after production meeting and rewrite after rewrite, to where just getting it ready for production, from signing your name on the line to day one of production, takes years. 5 years is probably the minimum for a moderately budget motion picture that you would expect to see in wide release. You're talking maybe 5 years. You can't do that anymore. Which is, I mean, you talk about putting pressure on craftsmen. Like, filmmaking used to be a craft. Now it's going to be a numbers game. I think you're going to be seeing ridiculous things. We might go back to the age of just shotgun blast. Just put something out there. Whatever works, fine, we'll go with it. It's going to pay for everything else. All we need is the one hit. It'll pay for everything else. So we're going to green light everything. Oh, you want a Civil War movie? You got it. As long as you pay for it and go to it, we'll do it.
Well, that could be
you could
fun.
See the revival of some really lost and sort of dead genres, which I think would be fantastic. But well, the audience, I don't think is very smart for that. But at some point, you have to face the music, which is, given how things are done, you're going to have a period at some point where nothing comes out. So you either just take that backlog, and instead of just saying, we're dropping it on Netflix, we're going to build Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Universal, whatever the crap, MGM, thumb up our ass. That was an index finger. Thumb up our ass. Because we're MGM, we've been broke for decades. Or RKO, we're here with RKO streaming.
Well, I would imagine right now that there's a ton of stuff in the can.
No matter what, you have to deal with the fact that you're going to be, unless you change the way you film movies, unless the production of movies changes fundamentally, and you need to be doing that now, not sitting around waiting for whatever's going to happen. If somebody's going to change the way movies are made, it has to be done now.
Sure.
Because otherwise, you're just kicking the can down the road. And you had better hope, if that's what you do, that something is so big it pays for everything that didn't work, and then it funds you into the next couple of years. And you're talking, you need Jurassic Park. This is not just like a Marvel movie you can pump out. You need that Jurassic Park that can fund you for a while.
Or an Avengers Endgame or something. But then you got to look at
Avengers Game was
you make something like that though. You're spending a lot of money for something like that.
That's the other problem. These things are tremendously expensive.
And that's just the production cost. You almost double that for the damn marketing.
Yeah.
So then you go, okay, well, how the hell is any of that going to pay for any of the other stuff? I mean, unless it overperforms. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? If it's got to overperform. Yeah. Is anything going to overperform anymore, ever?
No.
How many people are never going to go to a theater again because they're scared? Even if the vaccine comes out and everything's fine, There's going to be people that are saying, I'm never getting in a crowded room again with a bunch of people. At least, I mean, for a good 2-3 years.
You're going to have a noticeable chunk of people. Yeah. And you know what? It's like, how Steven Spielberg now, he filmed War of the Worlds in like 25 days. Or whatever it was. And Ready Player One was filmed in like 2 weeks or whatever. And that's going back to, you have to fundamentally change things. He might have been ahead of the curve just completely on accident, because he's lost his, let's be honest, Steven Spielberg's basically lost his mojo a little bit. You can't keep that fire going forever. And so to turn a movie like, it got that crazy guy, Mutt from Indiana Jones. What was his name? Shia LaBeouf. Where Steven Spielberg is basically turned into an assembly line filmmaker. And if you can turn out a film, if you can film a movie in 27 days or less than a month of principal photography, you might.
But it's the post-production that's killing you. It's the post-production that's killing you. You can't. If you're gonna film it all in a green screen, half of it, and then
it looks like the prequels.
Yeah, well, even if you don't do it right, and if you're not building real sets, if you want to build real sets, then your principal photography is going to take a lot longer, because you got to move people. So I don't know if they can make what
movies might be dead.
Well, that's what at least
probably it's over.
That was the conclusion that the article I read gave to us, is that event movies. Let me bring it up here and I'll read it off to you. It's not very long.
I like it when you read to me.
I know you do. So the headline says Wonder Woman 1984 will be released to HBO Max on the same day as its parentheses obligatory release to theaters. Move may mark the end of movie theaters. It'll be released on Christmas if you care. This is big. They're not going to make money on this releasing it free. Well, free on a paid premium service like this. They're not even going to get a bunch of new subscribers, because a lot of them will just sign up for free, tryout period, and then quit. That I'm not sure about, but okay.
You'll get some of them, not as many.
This is a give up. This is throwing in the towel on a $200 million movie. This is admitting that theatrical exhibition is dead and it's not coming back to life. I don't know if we'll ever see any real blockbusters ever again. I don't think you can make enough money on these things renting them online for $20. Plus, the minute you rent them online, they're easily piratable. This might be big. This might be a major media domino tumbling over. How great will it be if it turns out it was the Democrat Party's pandemic fascism that winds up destroying the media? So
yeah, look at, you know what? They played music as the Titanic sank. So there you go.
But I mean, so I'm going to take a devil's advocate view. I told my wife, because she's been really wanting to see Wonder Woman. She's all about. She keeps asking me, when is it going to come out? Did they move it again? And I say, well, if you read the site. Have
you pointed her towards Last Movie Outpost for all her up-to-date movie needs?
Yeah. I guilt my entire family into that whenever they ask me a movie thing.
The clicks, because you want Christmas presents, right?
I got to have the clicks, man. God damn it. Clicks.
Y'all got some of them clicks?
You got some clicks, man? I just need a couple of clicks, man, just to tie me over.
Just a couple clicks.
Just one Google
ad.
It's
like that
just
Neuro thingy in Minority Report. It's clicks for us.
Oh, yeah, clicks. Love those juicy clicks and those likes. Give me some likes. Ooh, likes.
That's Junior's specialty. Junior needs those upvotes.
I need as many as possible. So, I told her, I says, Wonder Woman 1984 is coming out on Christmas. It's definite for sure. And they're releasing on HBO Max, so we don't have to go to the theater. And she's like, well, that's interesting. We could just watch it at home. I was like, yeah. Then later on, she says, I've decided we're going to go to watch it at the theater because I want to see it at the theater.
I stand in solidarity with your wife. You're goddamn right.
And I'm not as... Like, I like the theater experience. I don't like the people in the theater experience, But
you kind of have to accept that's part of the.
It's part of it.
The overall thing.
But on the other hand, there are not that many people in the theater anymore. They're not going they're not going to be there, so it's not nearly as crowded and not nearly as big a deal. So I get the theater experience, and I'm not going to mess with anybody. So
I think the best part about theaters not being as full is you will have plenty of room for the ice chest full of the beer and the liquor that you somehow managed to sneak in.
Hey, they snuck in ice chest full of oats in Michigan, from what I hear. So why not? I'm sorry. That was camera equipment.
Algorithm.
That was camera equipment.
From Cameroon.
YouTube's gonna ban. They're gonna knock us off.
Yeah, we're gonna have those 8-legged or 8-tentacled robot octopus from the Matrix movies just show up, blast us in the face with lasers.
We're just joking, YouTube. We're just joking.
The algorithm does not get humor.
That's right. So, okay. So she wants to go. I think she kind of represents some pent up demand of people who say, I gotta get the fuck out of the house. I want to go to a movie.
Oh, I disappeared again. I'm a ghost. Oh, I'm back. Shoot. Turns out I saw the light.
Yeah,
I'm going to move that thing real quick. You can keep talking. I'll be fine. I'm going to go live remote.
I think your moths are Teamsters.
Listen, we know you like the light. You know you enjoy it, but we would really hate if you didn't support us a little bit and your light suddenly turned off.
Yeah, that would suck, wouldn't it?
That would really suck. Like that Monty Python sketch. It would suck if your tank's burned up, Colonel.
So I'm if they're going to put it out there, I think it's going to be interesting. I think Wonder Woman 84, because Tenet was one of those movies. Either it was going to make money or it wasn't. But it's kind of like Inception. Inception didn't kill it from the beginning. It did well, I mean, but it also kind of had some staying power.
Fantastic box office, right? But it had to stick around for a while.
It stuck around, if I recall. And then, of course, it got a lot of word of mouth. Wonder Woman has a built-in... It's going to perform like a typical blockbuster, very front-loaded. Yeah. And so it will be an interesting... It'll be an interesting case study on whether or not is it... I can't imagine that especially like Christmas Day. I mean, I don't know. Christmases can be.
That's the thing. You know what? I'll give you this. It's a ballsy strategy. It is you saw what Disney did with Mulan, and if you believe what
I don't think it did that great.
The movie, if you believe it about the numbers from Disney, then it's like, well, okay, that's established that this might work. Well, what if we did it this way? What if instead of saying you're going to pay to see this, we're just like, if you subscribe, you get it. So it's taking your expectations and subverting them. And they're just like, you know what, the hell with it. We're not going to make you pay for the movie. Just pay for the subscription. It's a different way of doing what Disney did. And of the two, this is the one that I believe would work.
In which way? In getting subscriptions or getting people in the theater?
If building up your subscription base is more important than getting butts and seats, because I don't think they care. I think, again, if you believe the Disney numbers, the amount of money you make without having to pay out to theaters is you get to keep all of it. For those of you at home, 100%. Why would you then even worry? I mean, if the movie makes money at a theater, fine, whatever. But if you bring in the subscription,
that's great.
And if they stick around long enough, then it's a money train. You've managed to find a way to make a bunch of money when there is virtually no economic activity going on. So I think it to me, it's, hey, you know what? It's swinging at the next pitch. No matter what it is, you're just going to swing at it. You're going for the fences, and I kind of admire that now that I think about it. I don't know if it's going to work, but I admire that, screw it, let's see what happens. What's the worst that happens?
Well, and then
ultimately nothing. You get a couple of subscriptions. You can you make something a little bit over the long term. Maybe you just have to wait to see any kind of earnings on it, but you're not paying anything to Regal or AMC or any of the other theater chains. Screw it. Whatever it is we make.
That's true. There's also the other side of it, with the COVID infection, or whether or not they should or shouldn't do this. And if you want
It's
my
happening
opinion,
whether we want it to or not.
they are locking down again. I don't think they should, but they are.
It worked the first time. Don't you know that?
Oh,
That's why we're doing it
yes,
the second time.
Yes. Hey, Cuomo, put some more people in nursing homes because that worked out great the first time.
Yeah.
But the thing I don't. So there's going to be a lot of theaters that just, like here in Kansas, the theaters are open. You got a social distance and everything, but they're going to be open. I haven't heard in this area that they're going to completely shut down some more, even though there's been a spike. But anything could change between now and Christmas. Yeah. Babylon B said, Gavin Newsom came out and solemnly declared that unfortunately COVID kills Santa. So, what a shame.
Guess what? They've been a little closer to truth than probably people should be comfortable with.
I know. It's really sad when Babylon B is struggling to out-parody real life. But
man, it really makes you remember when The Onion was a thing. It turns out
couldn't keep
they
up.
all went to Babylon B.
Couldn't keep
Well,
up.
I don't think they did, but
if you don't know what the Babylon Bee is, I highly recommend it. It is a satirical site, much like The Onion was, but it is far funnier, in my opinion.
it is because
they nail it.
The Onion at its height, was right around 9/11, oddly enough, when they had that amazing headline, "America turns into bad Jerry Bruckheimer film." After that, it was a decline, just like everything else. I mean, it declined sharply because it stopped taking that kernel of truth and making something really funny out of it. It was just, we're just gonna harp. It's no longer about being comedy, regardless of the target. It's now, we have a point of view. And even if you did, you held back at the wrong time.
Let me run through a couple of quick headlines here, just to give you guys an example. New AR-15 glows blue when libs are near. Kids in your community may be homeschooled. Know the warning signs. NRA presents Biden with prestigious Gun Salesman of the Month award.
That's funny.
Time traveler arrives from 3000 AD, and oh no, he's still wearing a mask. A bad sign. Trump holds blowout clearance sale on MAGA hats. Disney edits controversial Mandalorian scene so Baby Yoda just eats an unborn baby.
No. Oh, because there was apparently something nasty on the Twitter sphere.
So, when I reviewed it, I did make a mention of it. That I said Baby Yoda was a monster. And I stick by it. Now, I'm not as... I guess... I don't know. I find it interesting that the blue checkmark mobs, the ones that are very, very pro-abortion, got all up in arms about Baby Yoda eating this frog alien's eggs, which were eggs that are supposedly unfertilized. So,
well, then what's the big deal? You eat huevos rancheros, right? Like I do. I'm an honorary Mexican.
Would you eat your wife's unfertilized eggs? No. This is my point. It's a sentient.
I'm not a Scientologist.
It's a sentient being. So I found it a bit. It was very at best. It was a lot of dark humor, and it was more. It was like, oh boy. I was kind of like, oh my god, I can't believe he's doing that. But I gotta give. I'll give Disney Plus credit for having the balls to put it out there. But I played up the humor in the review.
Right.
I wasn't
genuine. There was genuine outrage.
Oh my god, people are upset. I'm like, these pro-Biden, pro-abortion people are really upset about Baby Yoda eating a sentient mother's unfertilized eggs. I'm like, I don't understand. What bunny hole did I fall down that this is a thing?
This is the most batshit crazy year, and
We
the
are
irony has been just spread over everything like a thick layer of Jiffy peanut butter, and nobody can even. That's it. You're so thick.
It
with
is
your with the sense of irony that they can't even see it anymore.
It is nuts. So
But
we've had a good night today. We've got
oh,
12 concurrent viewers, we've got 33 playbacks, and we've got a shitload of comments. And I'll be honest with you, if I don't start reading these comments, these people are going to start eating each other.
Lay it on me, sister. Let's go.
So we got to stay on top of this kind of thing. So I'm going to scroll all the way to the back to the beginning. Baldo says Wonder Woman 1984 is a bomb. We've read all about it. I haven't read any particular feedback. I don't know if anybody's seen the movie yet or not.
I haven't seen anything that, and I'm not even sure, and I don't even concede the point that theaters think it's awful and a bomb. I just think they don't have any other options. It's now just time to try and figure something out.
Yeah, I think
the movie
there's
costs
something
$200 million or whatever the hell it is. It's like you've got to do something. It's been sitting on the shelf for almost a year. They should have called it Wonder Woman 1988 because then it would have been WW88 and it would have looked great on a poster. Everybody loved it.
That would have looked better. Yes.
Thank you. 84 is ugly.
But it was a great year.
Being political, and that's why you're getting it out now instead of next year.
Hey, embrace the Orwell. I think we're Conan the Librarian. A fine screen name, by the way. I think we're looking at going back to single screen or double screen theaters again, independently owned, like in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, I was thinking that myself, that they're going to have to downsize all these these megaplexes with 35 screens in them. It's just not going to be enough to support that.
The margins on a business like that are going to be probably worse than a restaurant's, but I think I've said it a couple of times on our shows before. The only ones that survive are the ones that manage to get decent beer and a pretty good kitchen, and then you'll be okay because you're wrapping up the dinner and a date thing right into one central location. And I think, especially with younger people now being brought up in the world it is we're living in right now, and you're being conditioned. Let's just get it out there. The way you're going to enjoy it now is your dinner and your movie, and your drinks before the movie are going to be in one central spot. And I actually have no problem with the concept on its own. There's an Alamo in town. It's not a bad place to go to. It's really not. The bar's decent. The beer selection's good. The food's not bad. And they enforce draconian etiquette rules unless you're a certain individual. But there are draconian rules when it comes to your behavior in the theater. You are not allowed to leave your diaper in the trash can. You can't even get up and make noise. They'll kick you out. You get on your phone. Somebody comes in right away and you get a warning and then you're tossed out.
Do you know how many diapers I've had to leave in trash cans?
I can only imagine.
These movies
Did it make you giggle?
Well, these movies are 3 or 4 hours long. I don't want to miss anything.
That might be one thing you need to. If you want to get people back in the theater, you might have to make the movie shorter, just so you can cram as many in as you used to. Not a 3-hour movie. A theater is going to lose money with a 3-hour movie because you're talking about an extra screening or 2 a day that they cannot do. So if you have movie lengths that are 3 hours, 4 hours, they're going to break it up into 2 parts. And if you subscribe, you can see both parts for free or whatever it is you're going to see next, because HBO Max is not going to be the template for everything else. Somebody else is going to do something just as crazy and see if it works. Then everybody will follow that. But if you have a movie, or just in general, as a rule, your big tentpole pictures are still 3 hours long, 3.5 hours long, then you can, at that point, kiss it goodbye. Theaters are not studios are not interested in you anymore as a theater.
Yeah, I mean, things are changing so much. You say, well, you're going to have your food and your drink and everything in one place. Like, I already do that. It's called my kitchen and my living room. So I don't know
That's
that,
true, but I think
and I
and
don't have
even
to.
I'm a homebody too. I like being at home.
Whoa, I lost him.
I can pause.
Your internet is dying, I think.
I can whatever. But at some point, you don't want to be inside all the time.
We lost you
And
for
you're
a
just
few seconds there. Can you?
the hell you did.
Yeah, your internet just took it. The moths would start chewing on the lines or something.
Hmm.
Man, you gotta
Maybe it
give
was
those
because
guys those mandatory breaks. Those Teamsters will fuck you up.
there was probably a microwave on. We still do that here. Arizona. It's the Wild West. Am I
Conan.
back? Okay.
Yes, you're fine now.
The microwave is off. That's hilarious.
Kurt said he really liked Wonder Woman. He's glad he can watch it for free. Well, minus the subscription you already paid for. Conan says he thought that was a good point on the gym analogy. Yeah, I think it was too. Tau Pilot says Harry has seen WW84 and he's loved it. Harry Knowles, I swear to God.
He's seen it for about a month now.
You want to talk about a guy who flushed a really good thing down the toilet.
Save it for the episode 10 action spectacular.
No kidding. We're already on episode. This is episode 17, baby.
Oh, never mind.
We're gonna have to get to episode 20 or 25. Maybe we'll do it for 25. That would be a good one.
Oh.
Wonder Woman. I kind of like Wonder Woman, and I also glad that I could watch it for free. Baldo agrees. Conan says Wonder Woman showed up at his birthday and lassoed the cake. For those of you who don't know who Harry Knowles is, if you know about Ain't It Cool News, I know most of you do, but Harry has a penchant for coming up with some amazing, true-to-life stories about all the people he knew that did some wonderful things for him because he's king of the world.
And that he did wonderful things for, too. If I remember correctly, especially the early days before they converted to discus, he had also been, he had given certain, maybe it was Robert Rodriguez, don't quote me, but he had helped them with some kind of inspiration for a movie or a story or a character where it was him that did it. It was his idea. We're talking
I don't, yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all. You want to talk about inferiority complex? The guy's got it spades. Baldo says he fixed the trailer music, I'm assuming for Justice League. Everybody seems to agree that CNN sucks. Truth is on Newsmax. One says CNN was good when James Earl Jones was the voice for the logo stingers. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm willing to go with that. That's absolutely the case.
That was what, 15 years ago? 20 years ago?
Oh, it might have been longer. 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
CNN.
Harry had WW84 for weeks now. Baldo says pay for it. Ha ha ha. Put it on the internet and it's mine. Yeah, that's the thing. Once it gets on Max, it's going to be everywhere.
You know what? I think let's just call it now. This is the end of the yeah, I guess they're right. This is the end of Blockbusters.
I mean, $200 million. You're
and it's going to be pirate. Yeah,
it's going to be pirated like a son of a bitch. Yeah, and I don't know. I think it's going to be a.
It's a strange new world we're entering into.
It's a hell of a gamble. It's a hell of a gamble.
It's a big gamble, and if it works, then everybody else is going to follow it. If it doesn't, then it's going to be Paramount's turn.
Or it's not a gamble; it's a fuck it. We're just going to get to
see what happens.
Yeah, we're going to throw stuff into we're going to take the stuff that's in the can, throw it out there, and this is our life now. Maybe I don't know.
It's
Uh,
god awful. It's a shame. They're craftsmen. They're people who spend, 80-hour work weeks who literally, I mean, still the people who build the sets. I mean, there is a lot of really good, hardworking people who take a lot of pride into putting this stuff together, regardless of the shit that's on screen, because most of it is shit. But there are hardworking craftsmen,
yeah.
digital and physical, that are really proud of what they do, and they deserve to have that hard work displayed. And it's just, it's like, fuck you, it's over.
Yeah, and it's
Just
a shame.
it's exactly, it's a shame, because filmmaking used to be something of a craft, and I think, I'm not even sure there's always going to be filmmaking, and if blockbusters are done, then maybe it's high time we get back to telling stories. Maybe you see the rise again of serial entertainment. You spend money on one thing, you break it up, and you release it over the course of time, almost like
Well, I mean,
it's called a TV show, but
yeah, a TV show type of storytelling is one thing. I still like. I'll call a movie kind of a short form storytelling. It's got a beginning, a middle, and
yeah,
end. You're in and out in 2 to 3 hours at the at the most, maybe an hour and a half, and
yeah,
you're telling a very specific story. I'm not saying that I don't enjoy serialized television. That there isn't some really good serialized television out there, and certainly I loved my Star. I mean, half the reason I hang on to Netflix is for Star Trek, just so I can pop in any one of the Star Trek shows an episode if I want to. So
absolutely.
I'm not. I think that movies still have a place, but how we're going to do them, because we've gotten to the point where we think a movie has to be the pinnacle of technical achievement. It's got to be the best special effects, the best stunts, the best everything. And if you
Yeah.
can't do that on a TV or streaming budget, then it's like, what happens to movies after that? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? So yeah, I can't predict the future on this.
Ask yourself this: do you want to watch whatever it is, the Batman film that is being made now, which just looks like a combination of
Twilight Batman.
probably, yeah, it's a combination of Tim Burton and probably Christopher Nolan, with that serious underlying subtext and context and everything else going on, or which is going to cost an arm and a leg, and it's super expensive, and it's big, and it's your typical modern day blockbuster film.
Sure.
Do you want to sit through another one of those, or would you gladly take a smaller budgeted film of Batman, but more in line with Batman being the Detective Comics Batman? Less, you'll still have the Gotham skyline and all the rest of it, because you can't get out. It's Gotham.
Sure.
But you're now telling a smaller, self-contained story that is maybe more character-driven. Sure, there's obviously going to be action in it, but there's not going to be the big action that calls for hundreds of teams and hundreds of guys coming together and planning all the wire work and all the other. Batman in a bar fight in a tavern in Gotham, because he's looking for Joker is a name everybody knows. He's looking for Joker. He's going through the henchmen, and he finds them in taverns. And instead of having fights, and jumping out of buildings and massive explosions behind, no, he's just beating the shit out of a dude with like a Falstaff bottle, or he's bashing his head in with like a can of hams, or whatever's going on. Instead of all that other crap, wouldn't you rather just, it's like gritty 1970s almost detective work, where Batman has to go and crack some skulls and do actual detective work and maybe fingerprint analysis, which is not sexy in a movie, but it beats having a $300 million thing that now the entire studio's future is resting on, as opposed to, this is modestly budget. We're going to tell a story as strong as we can make it. There's going to be plenty of action and fighting and all the rest of it, but it's not going to be spanning continents and buildings, and you're flying through the air and all the rest of it. Now you're beating the shit out of a dude with a Budweiser bottle.
Well, it's a Michael Bay movie then.
Got no.
Okay. Here's the deal. They could have been doing that. They had
Yes.
before the pandemic, we
had
had
the
the choice to do smaller movies if you wanted to, and I think they did make a few type of superhero movies or something that were smaller, or more tighter
We had like
stories.
Shazam and a couple of others where
They
it was
weren't-
less reliant on spectacle.
Yeah, they didn't have to have the spectacle, but you still could have the spectacle. One thing I kind of miss, or what I would love to see again, is spectacle in the old style of Hollywood, like the I don't know, like the Ten Commandments, or Ben Hur, something that cast of thousands, and they actually built these things, and there was a grandness to it. What you're
Built
telling
in Yuma, by the
me.
way.
What you're they remade Ben Hur, so I mean careful what you wish for, but my point is that it was nice that you had the options. I think movie production houses had two modes: the tiny little art house thing, or star-studded comedy that really didn't have much of a budget except for the cast, or the giant superhero Avengers MCU, right? Star Trek, all these others that were insanely expensive. There was no in between. There used to be a lot of in betweens. There's no in between, and now we don't even have if they're going to throw this on HBO Max, they're going to throw a $200 million movie on HBO Max. I kind of agree that it does feel like it's throwing in the towel. And if it is throwing in the towel, then there ain't no more big event movies. There ain't no more big blockbusters. And there certainly won't be a historical epic or something like that. And that's a shame. We are seeing something that's... Movies have always been that thing that was cut above, something on TV. Something on a small screen. Now...
Movies used to set the culture. Now they react.
Yeah, and they have been garbage for a while. I won't deny that. Not to say that everything has been garbage, but there's been a creative drought as far as what's been going on. So that's a shame.
It's a drought on steroids.
Yeah,
easily.
It's just recycle, reboot, make the thing you've seen again and give you more of it. It's been very McDonald's like, and that is a shame. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I need to get through these chats because these guys are going to kill us. Let's see. Knitting Nerd. Oh, there's a UFO behind you, by the way. I think it might be the moon, or it was. It's up in the corner. No, the other side. Yeah, the other way. Maybe it's a... Oh, is that your... What is that? It's a little...
That right there?
It's a little dot right there. Yeah. What is that dot?
It's a reflection on my patio fan.
It's a reflection on your patio fan. Okay, I think they were calling that a UFO.
Damn, it's not doing it. It's right there. Yeah, it's a fan.
All right.
It's hot in Arizona. Spoiler alert.
I've heard that. I've heard that. Baldo says he'll miss his local AMC. Going to the movies every weekend was a really nice outing. Now I just sit here and seethe. Yeah. Paul says,
that.
Paul says, rip AMC, Rotor, The Librarian 2, will miss AMC IMAX. Yeah, I mean, you can't, seeing something like the Dolby where they show, that they have the contrasts.
Yeah.
The blacks are just inky. They don't, and seeing something that big on the screen, there is something magical about that, but the content's got to be good too. Paul wants E-Bob. I haven't seen him yet. We'll see if he pops on.
Wants him how?
I just read them, man.
Best not to ask questions.
Probably not. Paul wants a Megaforce reboot.
Okay. You get it right after your Titanic sequel.
That's right. Deeds, not words. Okay. Ace Hunter, A Weary World Turns Its Eyes to You. Oh my God. That movie was all over the back covers of my comic books. Yeah, I remember when I was growing up, like the Megaforce was, like every comic book showed the Megaforce, and I remember seeing that. It's like, that is the coolest thing I have ever seen in my life. Unfortunately, I did not actually get to see it at the time. And I think when I finally saw it, I was well into my 20s, maybe my 30s, and I watched it. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that Megaforce. I've seen Megaforce, and it was thankfully well into when Joe Bob Briggs Goes to the Drive-In is my favorite book of all time.
Yeah.
And Monster Vision is one of my favorite shows next to Mystery Science Theater, so there's kind of a pattern here. And Prime being able to see Megaforce with the understanding of what's going, it is spectacular. It's a movie just out on its own. Those post-apocalyptic sort of just drive-in films. It is.
They would never make a movie like that today. They would never make a movie
again.
that batshit insane. I mean, there have been a few,
because you can do it on a relatively
Yeah.
modest budget.
Oh, it was modest,
A
all
lot
right.
of practical effects and shit you got laying around. It's not Waterworld, for Christ's sake.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Legos.
Might have been. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think it was. I think I own the set.
Baldol says at 10 years old he recognizes other shit. I don't know. I was much less discerning back then. I'm very ashamed of some of the things I thought were amazing and awesome. But hell, what are you gonna do?
You're 10. Come on.
Paul found some more votes for Biden in your car truck. No, the Biden votes I think they found. It's the Trump votes that are scattered all over ditches and everything, and in car trucks and stuff like that. So
they've switched tactics, which is a very cunning move, especially when you know you've been caught.
Yep. My sister's here. Hello. Boy, she's really scraping for entertainment.
I think we're the best entertainment you can get for free at this time of night.
Yeah, probably so. Baldo says...
Has anybody said about how great we've been, how on point, how on target? We've stuck to the issues. We're the stick to the issues crowd.
Well, let me keep reading. We'll see if we'll get there.
Praise us. Otherwise, I'm gonna go get more beers and we're going off the deep end.
They could happen. We'll get political on you. We'll do it.
Oh, I've got issues.
Nobody wants that.
Serenity now.
Huge movies are over, says Baldo. That's the question.
I'm
we'll
coming
see.
around to that as we talk.
We'll see. Herc overperforms. There won't be any theaters left to go to in a matter of months. Yeah, that's the thing. It's the switch on who's going to fund these theaters. I mean, if they all go bankrupt and then they work themselves out of debt and bankruptcy, that's fine. But you can only do that so many times. I mean, if there's still nothing to show and you're not getting any people in, I don't know what you're going to do.
Now that I think about it, the only way these theater chains and even the art houses, which I've said are the only ones who are going to survive this apocalypse, the studios haven't released their classic catalogs. They haven't released the catalogs. They haven't told, say, Alamo or Flicks or any of these other sort of specialty chains, yeah, you know what, go ahead. You want to show an original copy of, I mean, I would go and watch Ben-Hur or the Ten Commandments. Those are some of my favorite movies of all time.
Sure.
You're going to give me an original print and you're going to put it on screen, or like, I'm going. I own the movie. I'll go.
Yeah, I mean,
an original copy of Doctor Strangelove, my favorite film of all time. I have 4 copies of it. You're like, oh, we're going to show it down here because we one night only. Getting a babysitter, I'm going. I would happily do that. The fact that they haven't should tell you that they don't give a shit about you anymore, theaters.
No.
They really don't care.
Well, there have been a lot of older movies that have gone in, but they've been more of the, I guess I'll call them modern classics. You know, Harry Potter, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Back to the Future,
special engagement,
Ghostbusters. But, you know, wouldn't it be nice to see now? Of course, I'm an old fart, but wouldn't it be nice to see stuff that I couldn't see in theaters because I just wasn't born yet? Stuff from the '60s and the '50s and the original War of the Worlds. Wouldn't that be something to watch in a theater?
Love it.
Casablanca.
I would absolutely love it.
You know,
Forget it.
I would pay money
You
for
put
that.
the Maltese Falcon on a traditional now movie theater screen.
I would go watch that, and I don't know if they'll ever do that, but that would be something they ought to look into a little bit more. And I don't know.
I don't think it's ever going to happen. Studios would have done that long ago, but they don't. I think it's now war basically, and they're not going to be sharing anything, which is why that's why part of why I don't think Wonder Woman is just fuck it, we're gonna lose. I think let's see if it works. I'm a little more optimistic about the strategy behind it, but I think we both know the outcome.
Yeah. Some of the guys are mentioning the drive-ins as a supply.
Drive-in will never die.
And in fact, the drive-ins have been making some decent money off of this.
They have.
But when you live in a place like where I live, like in Arizona, you can go drive-in 365 days a year.
And it's in Glendale, and Dom don't go to the west side for no reason.
Well, and a lot of drive-ins are gone where we're at.
Yeah.
And the ones that are, we went a couple of times. I've went more to a drive-in this year than I have in my lifetime. And my problem with the drive-in is, one, the sound sucks. Even if you do it through your car radio.
It's part of the fun. It's part of the atmosphere. I hate to say that you're kind of paying for that, but when you go to a drive-in, you're paying for that.
Yeah, but I mean,
which,
I can
of
barely
course,
see
not
the
value for your dollar.
I can barely see the fucking picture on the screen. I mean, it's so dark. As soon as whatever gets on the screen, if it isn't daytime, they're doing a night scene. I can see basic shapes, and that's about it. So I mean, I don't feel like I'm enjoying. Great. I watch Ghostbusters. I know Ghostbusters top to bottom. So even when I couldn't see it as well, I know what was going on. But a brand new, like a few years ago, we went into a double feature and we saw X-Men. I remember it was in 2014 because we saw X-Men: Days of Future Past and Godzilla.
Is that the one that takes place over Cuba?
No.
Or is the Cuban? What's the one with the Cuban Missile
Crisis? That's First Class.
Okay.
It was the one where Wolverine went back in time.
I don't remember hating it. I just thought it was interesting. I thought the fashion didn't work very well.
No, it was all right. But the one where Wolverine went back to the 70s and Nixon was buying robots to kill mutants.
Hold on, I think I want to see that one.
As he does. So, it was good. I actually like Days of Future Past very much, but the Godzilla movie, if you recall, most of that movie, when Godzilla was fighting, you got to watch people watching it on TV at lunch counters and shit. And when they actually
are we talking about Godzilla 2014?
Yeah, terrible.
I really like that film.
Watching it on a drive-in, I had no idea what the hell was going on. None. I could not figure it out.
That sucks.
I don't know. Drive-ins are going to have to really up their game on their projection technology if they want to be the new. I can deal with the audio. I can deal with that. But the projection technology, I got to be able to see what the hell's going on. And right now, they're bad.
I have an HD projector and something called an HD projection screen. And I've discussed what I've liked previously. And in my backyard, right over there, I have a nice, big, green, oval grass yard. And I get this giant, we're talking massive movie screen projector that I got from my wife's work because they had it. Somebody left it there. And they're like, we don't want it anymore. And she brings it home. She's like, do you want it? And we unroll the thing. And it is huge. It's old movie house size. And I'm like, yeah, we're keeping that. So I will set up.
You throw it on the garage door.
Oh, actually, you know what? We watched. My kids are. I think I've mentioned it before. My kids really like watching Lost right now because they're completely confused by it. And
who wasn't?
But we sent right. We set up the screen in the car park. Had the truck and the car backed up. You know, he had the everything up, put some seats up in front, had a projector going. It was a good old-fashioned movie screen. And now that we have cool nights, thank God, in Arizona, I'll put the movie screen under my big tree to block out the street light. And we set up the projector. We'll get the seats around. We get popcorn. I bring the beers out, and we'll watch a double feature.
Yeah.
We'll do Mystery Science Theater, and then like whatever one of the kids want to watch. Movies under the stars are brilliant, which is why I wish drive-ins would make a comeback. But the problem is, it's the same problem with Joe Bob Briggs used to call them hard tops. There's nothing to show because the studios aren't going to let you. I can go into my backyard and watch Doctor Strangelove, and it's fantastic. Or we watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail earlier this year. Kids loved it. They don't know what's going on. It's just funnier than hell, and I'm dying laughing because I get what's going on.
It's great.
You can't... Drive-ins, I would love it if they made a comeback, but number one... here's the other important part. Holding back the drive-in. Cars suck. They're not meant to be in. They're meant to get to wherever it is you're going.
Yeah.
Cars used to be built to be in. Now it's, you've got your navigation, your bullshit, whatever. It's just because you're going from Los Angeles to Santa Monica, or, you know, wherever it is you live, you're going from A to B. Home to work, and then back again. You're not doing anything else. You go get something to eat, and that's it. You weren't cruising. Nobody cruises anymore. Because your cars are embarrassingly ugly, so nobody wants to be seen in them unless they're going to work and they're stuck in traffic, which is why I wish the drive-in would make a comeback, but they're not going to.
Well, you hit it on the head. They don't have anything to show. Our drive-ins were doing well, but they were showing things like Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, Karate Kid, things like that. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like, if they want to start showing movies, maybe drive-ins is the way to go. But is it really going to be a long-term investment, especially once all this calms down? I just don't see it. So who knows?
If you serve food and it's good, maybe. If you turn a blind eye when people like me are going to sneak booze in, like, you'd probably be okay. But again, you're right. Long-term strategy, no.
I think, just don't see it.
You know what? Let's face it. The art is dead. The business itself is done. We're going to streaming, and maybe the silver lining is we're going to be getting storytelling again. So we'll go back to that sort of craftsman, that auteur, writer, and director who's just got this burning idea, and everybody's like, you know what, I'm going to sit and watch it. Number one, I got nothing else to do. But number two, probably going to strike a chord. So maybe we get back to really good do-it-yourself filmmaking. Oh my God, we're going to be making French films for the next 50 years. Oh, fuck.
Well, something's got to happen because it's a real mess. Let's see here. We can go back to the start of the video store. Video nasty days now that theaters are disappearing. Time for
Bring back
balls to the
Blockbuster.
wall insanity or creativity again. Woohoo. I agree with that.
Should be like the 70s. Oh, you have an idea for a movie? Fuck it, we're going to do it. Let's go.
Let's see. These guys are... I'm not sure they're paying attention to us anymore. The cover and the blurb will have you to sell you to clicking on it. Creativity will rule again, not increasing budgets. A good Batman movie could be made with a very small budget. John Paneer says Pattinson looks silly. Go back to reading the comments, you larks. I'm doing it now. Danny.
Be interesting.
Upvote comment style for Junior. Take phone calls. Caller line 1. Like, if you guys really want to call in, hit me up on Skype. Let me see what's in the chat here. Somebody, did you chat?
Are we going to be doing that now? Because I can go to the bathroom and get a beer if we're going to be taking calls.
Sure. I don't know.
Really?
You want to? We're already an hour and 15 minutes in. Maybe we'll do that next time.
Okay.
We'll do that next time.
Right. We're taking calls, bitches. You better get your east of the Rockies and your west of the Rockies down because we're not fucking around.
That's right. Everybody wants some. Yeah, let's see. Knitting Nerd is planning a cyber attack. Beware. Eh. Watched the '98 Godzilla recently. Has not aged well. It aged poorly about 10 minutes after it was released.
Yeah, once I saw that movie opening weekend at the Harkins Fiesta 5, which was right up the street at me now. It's a used store. It used to be a Target and a Harkins theater back there. They had the old Jurassic Park video arcade games. It was the most magnificent theater.
Yep.
Within an hour after eating my Arby's, I realized I think somebody just played a sick joke on me. And then I finished the Arby's.
It was, boy. Sean says Matthew Broderick was great in Ferris Bueller's Day Off and War Games. That's about it. You know, I got a particular soft spot for a Matthew Broderick movie called Project X, where he taught monkeys to fly.
And he was good as Ferris Bueller as a teacher in Election.
Yes, I did like Election a lot. That's a good dark comedy.
Yeah, and he wasn't bad in Godzilla, but
no, I think Broderick's generally okay.
Giant Velociraptor Tyrannosaurus.
It's just a terrible movie.
Who at one point was bigger than a building, smaller than a building, bigger than the tunnel, smaller than the sewer. Get your shit together.
Baldo claims that in Ferris Bueller, Rooney did nothing wrong. You clearly were not an 80s child. Dom is probably not currently shitting himself either. Are you shitting yourself currently?
Not last I checked.
All right, good.
Thank you for the question.
War Games is so outdated, I won't even bother. You know, War Games is outdated. You're right, but it is.
It's a fantastic snapshot. Why can't you appreciate it for that?
Well, you know what I'm fairly impressed about War Games about is that aside from the intelligent computer that he broke into, everything else was pretty accurate about what computers could do back then. He couldn't just die. You know, like most of the, he's like, I'm going to dial up the Pentagon, and he types like for 5 minutes, and then fucking nuclear missiles start launching. No, right. That's not how it works. He had to dial up like all the prefixes and all the numbers in the area to find ones that actually answered a modem. And then he had to test those and see if he could find, backdoor passwords and things like that. And when he got to the one that he had to do some research on who the creator was, what backdoor he might have put in there. It was all done very legitimately if you know anything about computers of that age. And I still find it kind of enjoyable, even though it's, the Cold War's over and everything.
I think it's a perfectly enjoyable film.
It's very
really, really good.
Yeah, it's very...
Go watch Stargate if that's what you want, you loser.
Yeah, there you go. That's realism. I first came to this channel because of the cool name. Never thought the name Last Movie Outpost would be prophetic. Yeah, I know what you mean, Accidental Tourist. It is concerning.
Wait until you see what we've got once the food runs out.
So, yes, next time I will take callers. I will bring you on, get your cameras ready, or at least your mics. We'll get the Skype going, and Dom and I will take calls, and then we'll hang up on you with what's the word?
Oh, we're gonna have to get a soundboard with those god awful 1990s sound effects every time somebody calls. Whoop and bonk.
Yeah, we'll kill you with prejudice.
Not it in.
Gibber wants to know, if you start taking calls, will I have to put my clothes on? Yes.
Option. Oh, yes.
I'm sorry that is a question that I actually have to answer. Harry Knowles thought Godzilla 98 was the greatest thing ever. Harry Knowles thought lots of things was great.
I'm pretty certain that's actually true because I remember his review. His review of Zilla, Armageddon, there were a couple of others. It's like, oh no. Even I was just like, Armageddon is Armageddon. It's priceless. I don't care what anybody says, but Zilla 98, It's anything other than an interesting footnote that you want to show your kids on how not to do a Godzilla film.
Yeah, it was. Did you ever see the Japanese? They did. I don't remember. It was in one of their movies where they had the
Godzilla 2000 or something. Yeah, where
might have
he
been.
beats
Yeah,
the shit out of Zilla with
like he comes out.
knocks him into the
He's
Sydney
dead.
Opera House.
Yeah, he's dead in like 5 seconds.
Like I watched that before I showed my kids Zilla 98, I think, and I laughed hysterically when that happened. They could not understand why, and I think that's what spawned me into eventually showing them that. And I was just like, you have to see this film. It's ridiculous.
I think Bambi put up more of a fight.
Oh, absolutely. It was like, no, don't, and then it was over. Dr. Pepper put up more of a fight.
I remember reading somewhere that a War Games remake is in development. It'll probably star The Rock. Yeah, I hope not. Baldo mentions Baldo mentions Red Dawn. The original Red Dawn is fantastic 80s war porn.
Oh yeah, it's the most preposterous bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, it is.
But it didn't matter because that's the thing about films in the 80s. They carried that cockiness. It's like, yeah, this might be a bunch of fucking shit, but fuck it. You're going to love it because it's great and we believe it. Like, the 80s gave us Cobra. You couldn't do that now.
No, you couldn't.
So, yeah, absolutely. Red Dawn is definitely up there.
I'll tell you.
War porn is the perfect way to describe it.
We definitely thought Red Dawn was possible in the middle of the Cold War.
Oh, I believe it.
At the time, we were scared. They were feeding us shit like that. And the day after on TV, worst thing about the day after,
YouTube, by the way. So if you've never seen it, you've got to check it out. It is fear porn on a level that
takes place right here in Kansas City. It actually takes place in Lawrence, Kansas, but that's only about 20 minutes away from me. But I mean, they
out of your goddamn mind.
Yeah, they film scenes right there, like on the Liberty Memorial and places right in Kansas City, and then they made us watch it in junior high and we're watching it, and everybody just scared shitless because we know all these places, you know. And then you follow it up with Red Dawn. It's like, God,
you
Gen X.
The power of the media, man.
Oh man, we're all gonna die.
And virtually every country in the Western Bloc in NATO had that movie. The British had a couple. The French had a few, I think. There might have been one from Italy. You can find them on YouTube where it's essentially the same thing, dealing with nuclear holocausts and the bomb being dropped and whatever else. I mean, and it is it's fear porn like you wouldn't believe. It must have been a wild time with Reagan and Thatcher.
It was.
The world was about at a moment.
Well, that's what the media thought, and then of course they were wrong, like they usually are. I always liked the ones that showed the aftermath. I mean, the Mad Maxes, you know. Then you had some fun in those days, you know.
Fight over fuel and water and shit. Come on.
Exotic Bob Jr. says, in all caps, I'm calling next week. Try ignoring my comments then, Yoda. Challenge accepted.
Shots fired.
Gibber King, feud between Yoda and Junior. Whoever wins, we lose.
No, somebody wins.
If I win, you all win. I think that's goes without saying.
It's called a banhammer. We'll go down that road.
Just kidding. Baldo watched Armageddon last night and enjoyed it.
Oh, it's great. It is. And when I showed it to my kids, I made sure to crank the volume up on the TV I had at the time as loud as it would go, because I told them the only way you can appreciate this is when your senses are being destroyed, because it was the loudest film ever made at the time. Yeah. And it's the only way to appreciate it. And it still is. You have to watch it loud, because otherwise
except for the animal crackers. Except for the animal crackers saying, you got to fast forward.
Loud as possible. You got to hear those crackers pleading to get out of there.
Jesus. Oh man, that movie
fantastic film. What a harbinger of things to come. See, why can't you make a movie like Armageddon?
They did. It was called
Maybe they
Transformers
tried.
1 through 5.
I think the Avengers films are Armageddon.
Yeah. Japan has a lot of really bad Godzilla movies. That's true. Bald
That fucking
Owl.
kid showed up.
I'm supposed to. I keep calling him Baldol. It's Bald Owl, but he has it all in one word. Yeah, it's called a space bar, man. I'm doing the best I can.
Hey, what do you want?
Like an owl with no hair. I apologize. God damn it. He's swearing at me.
You've gone off the rails.
Gibber King says, and he says your name every time. Oh my God. Yeah, everybody, this is when they're getting really whiny, and I think they've all passed their bedtime.
Yeah, put the kids to bed.
Yeah. Tau Pilot, Bald Owl, I guess he skipped your comment about mispronouncing your name. No, I hadn't gotten to it yet. John Paneer, remember when the movie studio that made the new Red Dawn were a bunch of pussies and changed the bad guys from Chinese to North Koreans? Yes, because
It was the beginning of the end, wasn't it?
because they were catering to that Chinese money, sold out
Yeah, pretty hard. Too.
humanity.
Thanks.
Sean says the remake of Red Dawn was going to be China, but they cucked out me at North Korea. Bald Owl says, yep. Gibber King says, what a cop-out. Sean agrees with pussies.
Then they meet behind a Motel 8.
Owl agrees that the original Red Dawn scared the shit out of him because we all thought it was about to happen. We did. We believed that shit. And, that was probably the first time when I realized the media is so full of shit because, you go through that, all you hear is, Reagan's going to hit the button. He's a crazy man. He's going to hit the button. He's going to think it's an alarm clock. And next thing you know, the Berlin Wall is falling, and then the Soviet Union collapses on itself. It's like, wait a minute.
It's weird how you've spent the last 4 years where basically the exact same thing was happening. We're supposed to have nuclear war.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to war all over the world. You've had 4 years with none of it. And you've had peace treaties across the Middle East with people who 5 years ago were sworn to kill one another.
You get to a point where you think, don't you guys get tired of being wrong?
I don't think so.
I think
You
they
get
live.
attention. I think attention is more important.
I think they live in this weird little window where the only thing that's ever happened was five minutes before and 5 minutes after. That's all they know about. Everything else just melts. It's like the that stupid the Langoliers,
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything is getting eaten in the past and they're still building the future, and all they know is the 5 minutes before and after. Gibber King, Australia has always been the best at making post-apocalyptic movies. Well, they only made the 3 that I know of, the Mad Max series. I don't know what else they made.
Yeah. I think they made whatever's going on there right now.
The media wasn't wrong. The media had us believe exactly what they want us to believe. Yeah, until it all blew up in their face. They had to come up with new shit.
Again and again and again.
Tau Pilot, we had no problem making Russians the villains up through the 80s, but we're scared to have the Chinese villains. Yeah, well, the Russians weren't buying any of the movie tickets, though.
Yeah.
So piss on them.
The Russians didn't have money. The whole thing was a lie. The Chinese
like
probably do.
The Chinese like doing business. So, yeah,
They're
that's
just frauds in a different way.
What that really shows is that, if the Russians had been willing to buy movie tickets, they'd been calling their agents and heading over to Moscow.
We would have propped up that empire for a while.
Yeah, they would have. It's clear where Hollywood's loyalties
Man, you could have had Nicolas Cage would have been General Zhukov in a movie about the Battle of Stalingrad.
That's right. Rambo would have been losing.
Stalin. Oh yeah. Vietnam War would have never happened.
Let's see. Biden won't allow any movies with Chinese aggressors. Dude is owned by China. John Paneer says that. Yes, I agree. Sean Bird, Fast and Furious movies are prequels to the Mad Max movies.
But then why do they suck?
Oh, I tell you, I really, those are the ones I'm ashamed of enjoying. and maybe I enjoy them ironically. I don't know, but when Fast and Furious 7 came out and they put The Rock on a shelf with a broken arm at the beginning of the movie, and then when he needed to come back into the movie, he just flexed and his cast just exploded off of his arm. It's like, okay, I'm ready.
I haven't seen any of them past the first. The first reminded me of those great drive-in films. Go ahead, sorry.
He ended up he stole an ambulance from the hospital. He just got up, flexed the cast off his arm, got into an ambulance, threw the ambulance into a drone, ripped the minigun off the drone, shot Mars. I don't remember. It's so over the top, and I'm kind of like they did it on. In fact, they did it on this one they did on Robot Chicken, where they were going, Michael Bay explosions, and they show.
I think I saw that.
They show the car, and the guy launches the car up at a helicopter, and he manages to stick some grenades or a bomb on the helicopter, lands correctly, and then the helicopter blows up. And this is Robot Chicken trying to make it as bizarre and stupid as possible, right? And then in Fast and Furious 7, he takes a bag of grenades and he launches himself in the car and he hangs the grenades on a hook on the helicopter. And then The Rock uses the minigun to shoot the grenades and blow it up. I'm like, you can't out-parody them. They'll take it to that level. They will probably watch that show and say, that's a pretty goddamn good idea.
I think we could do that.
That is good.
We've got the money. Let's go for it.
I was watching Robot Chicken, and I you gotta see this.
Of script.
They don't even care. I kind of like their. So here's the difference. I hate the Transformer movies, and I hate most Michael Bay movies. And the reason, especially those Transformer movies, and I really enjoy the Fast and the Furious movies. And I think the difference is that the Michael Bay movies, there's an attitude behind it that basically is like, this shit's cool. You're an idiot if you don't understand how cool this is. This is the coolest shit. I don't even know why I waste my time with you. This is too cool for you, right? And the Fast and the Furious movies are like, we know this is ridiculous. We just want you to have a good time. It's kind of fun, isn't it? I mean, yeah, we know this stuff can't happen, but that was kind of cool, wasn't it? We just want you to enjoy yourself. That's all. You can kind of tell the tone difference, and I appreciate.
You know what? I will grant that Michael Bay films have a certain level of
arrogance
to them.
Yeah,
pretentious. What I was thinking was they have an amount of pretentiousness to them where,
and they're crap.
He tries to interject that sort of. I don't know if realism is necessarily the word, but there's that especially with the slow motions, there's a lot of, I call it visual emotionalism involved.
Yeah.
There's no real substance, but what's on screen, it's like J.J. Abrams does the same goddamn thing.
Yeah. What's
on screen you're supposed to feel for, and we're going to film it in a certain way where you should, as opposed to telling it that way. Yeah, I'll grant you that. He's been doing that for forever and a day.
Yeah.
Learned it on Armageddon, by the way.
But the Fast and Furious feels like, look, we got two cars here pulling a safe down Rio de Janeiro. This is ridiculous. We know it's ridiculous.
What are you expecting?
It's fun. We're having fun, aren't we? Let's just have some fun. And that's what I feel like, fun and family. But
family.
Family. Okay, let's keep going here because we're going to read some more, and then I think we're going to tie it up here because it's been an hour and a half, and you've been
a trooper for me.
You've been a trooper, sir.
I've been sober for a little bit longer than I wanted.
E-Bob wants to know what the fuck a Langolier is. Stephen King.
It's a British bomber.
1995. A really horrifyingly funny bad miniseries. If you can find it. It's pretty hilarious.
Or it was used by the RAF to bomb Germany.
That's true. But the Bronson Pinchot is in it, and he is hamming it up.
It's ridiculous.
He turns it up to 11. It's great.
Yes, it is. It's next level ridiculousness.
Sean says, I think The Rover takes place in Australia. John Paneer. Joe Biden also said he likes it when kids rubs his hairy blonde legs in the summer. No, he said that he loves it when the kids would rub the hair in his legs and they would turn blonde. That's not at all creepy. Sean Bird. God, they're going so fast here. Guys, thank you very much. I'm doing my best to keep up with you. But the fact that we have this many people chatting away, I've had 55 playbacks, at least 10 to 12 concurrent viewers. It's great.
Damn, that sounds big and stuff.
It does.
Oh, holy cow, my YouTube has 123 something or others going on. Turns out I could probably keep up too.
Bald Owl says the source of personal pride that you have never seen a Fast and the Furious movie. I respect you for that. You haven't seen any of the Expendable movies. The Expendable movies are not good, but I will admit that I really, really laughed in I think it was the second Expendables movie when they're all pinned down. They're completely pinned down in this street. Tall buildings on either side. It's kind of like it looks like almost an Austrian town or some sort of Bavarian type thing. And the tank is coming around the corner, and and they're like going, I don't know what we're going to do. Suddenly the tank explodes, and everybody that was coming at them are dead. And they turn to the side. I'm not kidding. And they turn to the side, and Chuck Norris by himself comes walking down the street going, see, you guys need a hand. I'm like going, oh my God, they just put a Chuck Norris joke in the fucking movie. They didn't even care. There's no explanation. He's not carrying one gun, and everybody's blown up.
I'll give you that. That's a level of fun. You don't get that anymore.
You don't get that anymore. Unfortunately, the rest of the movies are terrible.
First one was good.
Rest in peace, Paul Walken, Christopher Walken's son.
He was great in the
they're mentioning the Cannonball Run movies. I love the first Cannonball Run movie, and the second one not as good. But I just like the basic. Fuck it, we're just on vacation. We're gonna film a movie and do it.
Let's try another one.
Yeah, we're gonna film a movie and have a write off while we do this fun car chase, car race.
I'm with you on that one. Yeah.
I do enjoy him. Michael Bay looks down on his audience, says Gibber King. Yes, that's true. Sean Bird says Fast and Furious is like Sharknado. No, I don't think it's quite as tongue in cheek as that. Sharknado is clearly, Fast and Furious isn't quite that bad.
Sharknado is a sin. It's a movie that deliberately tries to be bad, and you cannot do that and succeed. That is the one rule.
They did with the first one. After that, it got rolled real fast.
Disagree.
Understood. I respect you for that.
Thank you. I share my truth.
E-Bob says, give Michael Bay a break. He has to look down on me. I'm 1 inch away from legally being a midget. And demonetized. Sean says he's got a couple of good movies. Michael Bay does. The Rock. I'll give him The Rock.
One of my favorite films of all time.
And I think
Armageddon, Bad Boys, and the first 2/3 of The Island. Up until you realized, this is parts the Clonus horror, and you're about to be sued.
I was going to mention The Island.
They were.
Yeah, they were. But I was going to mention The Island. It is better than I would have expected. Boy, it bombed too.
It did. That last 2/3.
Bad Boys?
No, not last 2/3, but that last act.
It's all right.
Bad Boys is great because it's a 80s action film buddy cop movie made in the 90s, and that's fine. It's a transitional film, but The Rock is a classic.
Can we ever forgive Michael Bay for Pearl Harbor? I think I don't see how. That's where he
don't know. Is that his fault, or was that Jerry Bruckheimer being too full of himself?
Yes.
Because that is a failure on almost every level.
John Paneer, I actually enjoyed the Michael Bay movie about Benghazi. I didn't see that one.
I saw most of it. It's not horrible.
Yeah, I heard he was pretty restrained in that.
It is, but it's the same thing with Bad Boys 2, where when Jerry Bruckheimer had optioned Black Hawk Down,
13
and
hours.
was looking for a director, Michael Bay really, really, really wanted to direct Black Hawk Down, and it ended up going to the director it should have gone to, which was Ridley Scott.
Yeah, very good
made
movie.
One of the best war films ever made, hands down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Bad Boys 2 struck me as a film where it was like, oh, you really wish you'd have gotten Black Hawk Down. 13 hours is like, that's why you didn't get it. Because even Ridley Scott managed to pull some kind of emotion and that personal connection and those things you kind of need to more sympathize and understand with soldiers in those kinds of positions where death is happening all around them, and those deaths have to mean something because you need that in that film.
Yeah, I don't.
13 hours, and that's and that's a fresh memory, and it's just it's settled more on the fact that you can make an action film. You can make a very good-looking action film. You're like, again, like J.J. Abrams. You have no idea how to tell a person's story.
No, it's like what when South Park was trying to pull in directors to help them with the imagination land.
Oh my god! Yes,
he's like,
it's great.
It's like, okay, Mr. Bay, we need your help. He's like, well, first you have, because no, that's just special effects. I understand the difference. We know you don't.
Summed it up perfectly. Not that, look at Michael Bay films. They're still nice to look at for the most part, but you lack that connection with the audience, I guess.
All right, one more. Accidental Tourist. Cannonball Run 2 was Roger Ebert's worst movie. Cannonball Run 1 was Gene Siskel's worst movie because it inspired Cannonball Run 2. And that wins the chat. So thank you very much, guys. Remember, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Please share this out as much as you can. Obviously, go to lastmovieoutpost.com. Many of you are there all the time, and we appreciate it. We're going to keep trying to build this site. We've got Sean, who's been doing a great job in putting out more and more content. Oh, yeah. I think you're going to actually start putting out some videos for us at some point.
I am finalizing my first video cast in the next couple of days. I have about a dozen more images I want to add on, and I have to snap the audio off a trailer and add it in over my talking, and we are good to go.
I can't wait to see it. I am working on another Overlooked.
Believe me, you don't want to.
Oh, I do. I really do.
I hope you call me while you're watching it.
I'm working on another Overlooked. I hope to have that done. If I get some time on Sunday, I might try to get it done. It's not going to be as long as some of the other ones, but it's one of my favorites. It's a fantasy movie, and you'll understand when you see it. The rest of it, at Drunken Yoda 1, at Movie Outpost Twitter, I think at Last Movie Outpost on Instagram. I always forget that one. /
It's a great place to go to, by the way.
Yep, we're on Facebook. Just go to last. See, I'm out of rum. See, when we're done, we know we're done when this is empty, and this is empty.
It's time for a refill.
That's right. And if we get a refill, this will go on way too long.
Joe needs a refill.
So, considering we had nothing to talk about, we talked for an hour and 45 minutes. I think we did well.
And we stayed on point.
Sure. Sure.
Sort of. Where am I anyway?
I had no idea.
I look like I'm in a UFO lab.
But thank you very much, everybody, for being on and watching again. LastMovieOutpost.com. And if you need to email us, contact us at LastMovieOutpost.com. And,
Send nudes.
Send nudes. We're also, if you want to contribute or if you want to be a part of it, send some information. That's how Sean got on, and we're happy to. We want to keep that content churning. I am actually doing some advertising with some Google ads, and it is cranking up. More and more people coming to the site and finding us. So obviously the amount of viewers we had on here is really pretty impressive. So hopefully we're gonna get big.
Let's make a name for ourselves in a good way.
We have some special stories coming soon. We hope. I don't want to get too. I don't want to jinx it yet, but there's an interesting get that we hope to be bringing out soon. I hope they don't make a liar out of me, but we'll see. So
you got me interested.
I think it's good because it'll be fun if we can get it.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to get too.
Don't spoil it.
I'm very bad. I'm very bad at marketing. I'm very bad.
You should probably stop then.
I should.
Don't give it away.
I
5
won't.
more minutes and we're gonna know. And then
Yeah, I've been drinking. This is not good. So I'm going to wrap this live stream around a telephone pole. I swear to God. All right, guys. Dom, take care, and thank you
Absolutely,
very
I
much.
will.
Take care,
This has been
Outposters.
great. Thank you.